Wow. Okay, here we go. This is not something I often do. Let's make sure we're streaming. I need to see this switch over to some moving heads, right? Should be any second now. I did change the video. Yeah, there we go. Linux LXD under Windows WSL2. This is big. This is big, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush or mince words. Just get right to the wizard. Get right to the initialization wizard, which goes sudo LXD init. If you want the background on this, check out the prior video. But I will say, this one is unusual because it's taking place in the workday. But it is a major dependency I have to satisfy before I can proceed even with my day job. So get her done. Turn off monetization in the live stream on this one to avoid any issues. This is under the category of the best way to learn is to teach, and if live streaming this step is the best way to do it, get over the hump and so be it. My categories. And then we're going to do the wizard, but then I will go on to what comes up after the wizard, which is basically getting a Linux instance from an LXD container, similar to Docker technologies, but part of standard Linux as opposed to Docker. So we're getting a Linux container running under the Windows Subsystem for Linux for that type of playground that I told you about in the thumbnail. The thumbnail shows it to this video. I don't even know if I could show it again. It's this thing here. I'll go there for a second, right? You got Windows, you got Linux, and that's the normal Windows subsystem for Linux right here. But then you can create these Linux playgrounds, which uses the same kernel as this, and this is where you experiment. This is where you get good at Linux. This is where you go crazy and do all your commands. So we go back to the scene, which shares the correct desktop, and we just use the command sudo LXD sudo LXD init. Init stands for initialization, as these things often do. I'll make it a little bit bigger, and this will step us through a wizard process. First question, would you like to use LXD clustering? We're going to choose default. So I just hit enter. A new storage pool, default, yes, enter, I guess enter. Name of the new storage pool, default equals default. Sounds good to me. The first time I'm doing it, so I have no reason to choose anything other than the defaults. Oh, wait a minute, the storage backend, it's supposed to show ZFS here. This is not right. I am going to Control-C this and make sure that ZFS is available here and why it might not be. So, it's again, Charlie Brown kicks at the football, ends up flat on his back. Sudo it's sudo dudo apt install, and I know it's there because I've done it before, but it's ZFS tab to get all the options, utils -Linux. And it says the dependency is met. Is there something I am missing about this? So we will go to the official Linux container page and see if they say anything about ZFS here. The recommended backends are ZFS. So we'll go this is the browser wars right here. That is not nice. Okay, so we go over here, and the thing is, we're doing the no, it's not WSL. We're doing LXD init ZFS, not an option. It should be an option. ZFS should be an option. LXD with ZFS. Where is my life? Linux containers. create a pool for LXD. After creating my pool, I ran LXD, configured it to my pool. Well, once again, I'm going to see if I missed a step from, and I'll probably show his video because, you know, you get desperate. Mike Levin, MikeLevin.com, and we go into my, oops, that's the wrong one. MikeLev.in, this photographer here. I should have that domain. But I go into my blog, I search on ZFS, not today's, but last ones. It brings us into here. That brings us into this wonderful guy, Keep It Techie site. I run
next step.
He's doing the ZFS install.
So let's give it a couple seconds. This shouldn't take too long.
Good.
And
you wait for me, I wait for him.
We'll get it started.
It's the step after ZFS
install. Okay, so ZFS utilities has been installed. So let's go down and clear this, but then let's initialize LXD. And the command to do that is simply sudo LXD and init,
so how come
basically for initialize.
ZFS is
and it'll step you through the process of actually configuring the server.
That's what I'm doing. Thanks
so let's give it a second. It'll bring up a couple prompts for us to actually respond to. And the first thing it'll ask you is if you want to configure a new enter. I do want to configure a new storage pool, which I'm going to want to set up ZFS.
So
and let's press enter here.
There it is. See, default equals ZFS. Did I just not see it? I thought it was there. Whew, are things different on my system now? Oh, maybe it's because I'm under a Python virtual env. Deactivate. Okay, so my prompt no longer has that in front of it, you see, clear. So don't nest your virtual environments, I suppose. Maybe that's it. Sudo apt update. Make sure I'm on the latest. I'm almost sure I am, because on the last video I did this already. I didn't do this at the beginning of this process because I have done it so recently. Sudo. Oh, all packages are up to date. It's not even worth doing a sudo apt upgrade, really. It'll just not do anything. So it is clear that I need to check sudo LXD init again, now that I'm not under a virtual environment of Python. Default for the clustering. Default for the storage pool. Default name of the storage pool. Right? Is this my imagination? After all that work getting the zettabyte file system, things are different. Things have changed. Perhaps they changed it since that video was produced because it is an issue to have to install it onto your machine. And maybe they switched here. I am going to try ZFS and see if it takes it. Invalid input. Try again. I'll take the default because we got to get this going. Huh. That was a surprise and a disappointment. I will also have to research what BTRFS is. I'll zoom this down so that it doesn't wrap the options. Default 30 gigabytes, size in gigabytes of the new loop device, 30 gigabytes? Are you kidding? This is a place where I'm going to change it. These are little throwaway things. Loop device is 30 gigabytes. I suppose they're talking about the hard drive. That cannot be. We need to give it 5 gigabytes at most. No. Create a new local bridge, yes. It uses its own virtual LAN technology. We'll allow it to keep the default. Allow that to be default. Allow that to be default. Available to the network. Default is no. Well, I guess no. I mean, I'll change these defaults. The only default I changed so far was changing this to 5 because 30 gigabytes sounds much too large for my feeble little laptop. And I think I recognize these questions being different. Okay, there's a problem. table IP LXD type NAT hook post routing priority 100 policy accept IP. So it's on the network. Could not process rule, no such file or directory. Did you mean chain out LXD BRO in the table? I don't know. So we definitely want to capture this. Oh, it's not in my history, so I'll capture as much as I can for my notes. And it might still have worked. We don't know. This was supposed to be another easy peasy. Maybe not. But the question is whether it succeeded on doing the setup. Would you like YAML? No. We're going to create another, and we're going to select all the defaults again. Failed to run NFT. This is the thing we need to Google here. Under LXD, see? There's a Stack Overflow. All right, fine. Nothing useful, I think. LXD, WSL. See if anyone is having the exact same issue as me. Let's see if the instance is running. Whew. There are some questions about the names of these things that were important. I might have to cut this because I am not going to go down the rabbit hole. This is not satisfying the rabbit hole criteria for these types of things. LXC launch images is what was supposed to come next. The image server, the image name, and the instance name, right? And that is from the documentation here. After you get past the setup. So launching a container, that's where I got this. LXC, using the LXC client tool to manage your LXD. So we want to see if there's an LXD instance. So it's LXC command help. So we can just do, oh, here it is, LXC list, right? See if we got it there. This is your first time running LXD on this machine. You should also run LXD init to start your first instance. So it didn't create the first instance. We're going to have to give it some different answers to these questions. Clustering, no. Storage pool, yes. Name of storage pool, default. Name of backend. Create a pool. Existing disk or partition. 5 gigabytes. Mass server. Local bridge. Oh, so the default is yes. I will say no. LXD existing bridge or interface. Yes, use my existing bridge or interface. Name of the existing bridge or host interface. ifconfig maybe? Browser wars. Oh, it's probably going to be ETH0, ETH1, that kind of thing. I have config. I thought that's what I tried. Let's try ETH0. Couldn't hurt. Well, it got through it. That's interesting. So now let's see our list. Sudo, maybe. Oh, Unix socket HT. So it's trying to do, and it got permission denied. So it's almost certainly trying to do something with the network interface I just gave it, and it wasn't able to. So a sudo I don't think would help that. So I can't even list the LXCs if I don't have the network interface for it set up correctly. That may be a thing. I'll try sudo with it. I doubt it's going to work though. Well, interesting. I got something back. Name, state, IPv4, IPv type, snapshots. I don't think there is a entry in there though. That would be the documentation here. No, that would be the documentation for Linux containers that I'm going for. List. You can filter the instances, type container, type running. You use their names. I can get some help on the command. I guess that's what I need. And then I'm going to back off. This is not satisfying the rabbit hole criteria. Cannot find installed snap LXD at revision. Missing file. Snap YAML. Yeah, this is a rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen. This big win is being snatched away from in front of me again. And so this is a failed livecast. I will research it on my own time and rejoin you later. I don't even know if I'll keep this one linked. Kicked at the football and missed. Oh, Charlie Brown. When will you stop trying to win the prize? Never! Thanks for joining me, and I'll give you an update on this soon. This honestly is worth it, and I got to get to the end of this. It's a criteria for my next phase of work where I need these playgrounds. And I'll talk to you soon.